What if the words she casually drops in conversation are actually coded messages from her heart waiting for you to notice? Most men are so busy analyzing how often she texts back or whether she's leaning in during conversation, they completely miss the quiet truths hidden in her words. But a woman's language, especially when she starts to feel something real, becomes a map, soft, subtle, and deeply revealing. Unlike men who often act on their interest, women speak it first. Not directly, not obviously, but emotionally. She may not say, "I like you," but she'll say, "I've never told anyone this before." That's not just a statement, it's a doorway into her trust. She might casually ask, "Do you think about me?" But beneath that question is vulnerability and hope. These aren't just phrases, they're her way of reaching out, feeling safe enough to reveal her emotions without risking outright rejection. And if you learn to listen, not just with your ears, but with your emotional awareness, you'll start to see it. She's letting you in. Slowly, deliberately, carefully. Because her words are wrapped in layers of fear, curiosity, and longing. She wants to be understood before she fully gives herself. That's why understanding her language matters. It tells you how close she's getting to choosing you. So stop looking only for signs in her actions. Start hearing what her heart is trying to say, one sentence at a time. Because when a woman begins to speak like this, she isn't just talking, she's trusting. And when you learn to read that you don't just become a man she likes, you become the one she can't forget. What if the moment she said, "I feel so comfortable around you," wasn't just casual? What if it was a confession wrapped in softness, testing whether you even noticed? After a woman begins to open up emotionally, after she lets you in with a quiet, "I've never told anyone this before," the next shift often comes in how she feels around you. And she might not spell it out with fireworks. Instead, she'll say something simple, almost harmless. "I feel really comfortable around you." But don't be fooled. In that one sentence, she's telling you something incredibly rare. You've made her feel safe. That's not something women say lightly. It means her guard is dropping. Her nervous system relaxes around you. Her mind softens, her shoulders release, and she starts imagining herself in your presence without tension. But here's the emotional catch: comfort can lead to two destinations: connection or confinement in the friend zone. If her comfort with you is paired with curiosity, teasing eye contact, playful touches, she's drawn to you. She's inviting more. But if it comes only through heavy emotional talks and no flirtation, she may be filing you under safe but not exciting. That's why your response matters. Don't just be the emotional pillow. Be the man who holds space for her emotions while keeping the tension alive. Mystery, challenge, humor, depth. Because comfort opens the door. But it's what you do next that decides whether she walks into your arms or just sits beside you as a friend. What if that moment she asked, "Do you ever think about me?" wasn't just a flirty question, but her heart quietly reaching out, wondering if she's alone in how she feels? Once a woman feels safe and relaxed in your presence, the next layer begins to unfold, curiosity wrapped in vulnerability. When she asks, "Do you think about me?" she's not just making conversation. She's testing emotional waters. She's asking in the only way she knows how, "Am I taking up space in your heart the way you've started taking up space in mine?" But she won't ask it directly. Women are beautifully subtle like that. This question may come with a laugh, a teasing glance, or even a playful accusation: "I bet you never even think about me when we're apart." But underneath, she's craving reassurance without looking needy. She wants to know if she matters, but she also wants the mystery to stay alive. That's the emotional dance tension, curiosity, confirmation, without overexposure. And most men blow this moment wide open by over-answering. "Of course I do. I think about you all the time," or playing it too cool. "Nah, not really." The Stoic man knows better. He teases gently, but then if the timing is right, he deepens the moment. He references something specific, something only she said. That way he shows he's been paying attention, without giving away the whole game. Because when a woman drops a question like this, she's giving you permission to open the door to something more. And if you handle it right, you won't just keep her interested, you'll make her feel seen, remembered, and wanted. That's where real connection grows. What if her asking, "What would you do in my shoes?" wasn't just about seeking advice, but about quietly wondering if you're the kind of man she could trust with her future. After the emotional doors begin to open, after she's shared her secrets, found comfort in your presence, and dared to ask if she's on your mind, the next step isn't always more romance. Sometimes it's her inviting you into her life. When a woman says, "What would you do in my shoes?" she's not just asking for an opinion, she's offering you a place of influence in her inner world. That's rare. That's meaningful. Because women don't just value advice, they value perspective from someone they respect. And this question reveals that she's starting to see you as more than a source of emotional comfort. She's beginning to envision you as a steady force in her life, someone she can lean on, someone who thinks with clarity when she feels unsure. This is the moment where your response speaks louder than attraction ever could. You're not just being evaluated for your wisdom, you're being weighed for your emotional intelligence. Do you respond with calm thoughtfulness? Do you ask questions that reveal you understand not just the situation, but her within it? If so, she'll feel something deeper than desire. She'll feel alignment. And that's what women chase when their hearts begin to choose. Because deep down, she doesn't just want a man who makes her feel good, she wants a man whose mind and heart she can trust with her own. This is no longer surface-level flirtation. This is the beginning of emotional partnership. Don't miss it. What if the moment she whispered, "I feel like you get me," wasn't just about comfort, but about her realizing you've touched a part of her soul no one else ever has? By now, she's shared her stories, asked for your thoughts, hinted at her feelings. But when a woman says, "I feel like you get me," everything changes. This isn't casual. This isn't filler. This is emotional revelation. You've moved beyond attraction, beyond comfort. You've entered her inner world. And what she's really saying is, "You see the real me, and I feel safe letting you in." That kind of connection is rare, and for her, it's deeply moving. Most of the time, women walk through life feeling misunderstood, told they're too emotional, too complex, too much. So when she finds a man who doesn't just hear her words, but reads between them, who picks up on the meaning behind her silences, who mirrors her depth with his own, she feels it. In her body, in her breath, in the way her guard melts when she's around you. And this is where many men falter, not because they do anything wrong, but because they don't realize how huge this moment is. They move past it, shrug it off, change the subject. But the Stoic man leans in gently, steadily, without ego. He lets her know through presence and patience that yes, he sees her, all of her. And he's not intimidated. He's drawn in. That's what deepens her investment. That's what turns connection into attachment. When she feels truly seen, not just liked, not just wanted, but understood, she doesn't just stay. She chooses you, over and over again. What if the moment she said, "I can't imagine my life without you," wasn't just a sweet phrase, but a quiet revelation that you've become a part of her identity? When a woman reaches this point, she's no longer flirting. She's no longer testing. She's feeling, deeply, emotionally, permanently. Saying, "I can't imagine my life without you," is her way of saying, "You're in the fabric of how I see the world now." This isn't about the little things anymore. It's about her realizing that your presence in her life is no longer optional. It's necessary. And this kind of emotional integration doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of you being the man who listened when she opened up, who offered perspective when she felt lost, who saw her for who she really is and made her feel understood without judgment. That emotional consistency builds something powerful: trust. And trust is what allows love to root itself deeply. She's not just excited by you now, she's anchored to you. Her routines, her thoughts, even her dreams begin to include you. Not because she's dependent, but because she feels safe enough to intertwine. This is a sacred moment, and the man who recognizes it doesn't just feel pride, he feels responsibility. To show up, to be steady, to be worthy of that level of emotional placement. Because once a woman can't imagine life without you, it means she's imagining a life with you. Entirely, wholeheartedly, not as a fantasy, but as a future. And that is the truest form of connection. What if her saying, "I want to make you proud," wasn't about seeking praise, but about silently telling you, "Your opinion of me matters more than anyone else's"? By the time a woman reaches this level of emotional vulnerability, something sacred has already taken root: admiration. When she says, "I want to make you proud," she isn't fishing for compliments. She's revealing that your presence in her life has become a mirror through which she measures her own growth, her worth, her identity. This statement goes far deeper than affection. It's about value, how much she values your opinion, your standards, and who she becomes in your eyes. In her heart, you've evolved from someone she simply likes to someone she deeply respects, someone she wants to rise for. And that kind of devotion isn't born from shallow charm, it's born from consistency. From the way you've listened without judgment, challenged her with grace, and created a space where she feels both seen and inspired. The emotional depth here is profound. She's not just connected to you, she's beginning to shape herself, not out of obligation, but out of desire to meet the greatness she sees in you. She wants to be her best self, not just for her, but for you. And when a woman feels this way, the dynamic has changed completely. She's not looking elsewhere. She's not questioning what you mean to her. She's already chosen. Quietly. Fully. Now she just wants to know, will you keep showing up as the man she believes in? Because if you do, she won't just love you, she'll grow with you. And that is where real relationships are born. What if the most important signs of her love aren't in the grand gestures, but in the quiet words she says when she thinks you're really listening? By the time she says, "I want to make you proud," she's already invested her heart. But to truly understand where she stands, you have to listen beyond the words to the emotional current flowing underneath. Because everything she says, from "I feel comfortable around you" to "Do you think about me" to "I can't imagine my life without you," they're not isolated moments. They're a progression, a slow, intentional unraveling of her emotional walls. And here's the truth. Most men never realize women fall in love through expression, through language, through the words they dare to share, wrapped in vulnerability, curiosity, and quiet longing. These aren't just phrases, they're invitations. Each one a carefully placed step across the bridge between interest and commitment. But what makes them truly powerful isn't just what she says, it's when and how she says them. Does her voice soften? Do her eyes search yours for a reaction? That's when you know it's real. And if you respond with presence, not rushing to fix, not brushing it off, but simply being with her in that moment, you create safety, trust, depth. That's the glue that holds real connection together. Because at the end of the day, women don't just want to be loved. They want to be understood, seen, and chosen without having to beg for it. And when you can meet her words with stillness, steadiness, and emotional clarity, she won't just feel heard. She'll feel home, and that's when love becomes unshakable. What if the real language of love isn't spoken at all, but revealed in the quiet details of how she shows up when no one's watching? By the time she's told you things she's never told anyone, asked if you think about her, and whispered that she wants to make you proud, the truth is already clear. Her feelings aren't floating at the surface anymore. They're anchored. But here's the final lesson, the one most men overlook. While her words are powerful windows into her emotions, it's her actions that confirm everything. She might say she misses you, but does she make time for you? She might say she's proud of you, but does she show it when you succeed? Emotional depth lives not just in what she confesses, but in how she behaves when no one's prompting her. That's the final filter between infatuation and something real, because a woman can feel deeply, but if she's still unsure, guarded, or protecting herself, her behavior will show hesitation. But when she feels safe, when she trusts you, When her emotions have rooted themselves in confidence, her actions will speak louder than any phrase ever could. She'll initiate. She'll remember the little things. She'll adjust her schedule to match yours, support your goals, and offer her presence not because she has to, but because she wants to. And that's when you know you've reached her heart in a way most never do. The words were the path, but her consistent unspoken devotion is the proof. So listen to what she says, yes, but watch how she shows up. That's the language of a woman in love. And when you see that alignment between word and action, between expression and embodiment, don't take it lightly. That's where real, unwavering connection lives. In the spaces between sentences. In the moments she doesn't have to show up, but does anyway. Because that's not just affection. That's loyalty. That's love. Unfolding in silence. One of the most powerful lessons from understanding how women express affection is this: love rarely announces itself. It reveals itself in layers. In a world where people chase grand gestures and obvious signs, we forget that real connection grows in the quiet spaces. When a woman says, "I feel comfortable around you," or "I want to make you proud," she isn't just being sweet. She's offering you a glimpse into her emotional world, hoping you'll meet her there with presence, not performance. And this doesn't just apply to romance, it applies to all relationships. The people who truly care often don't speak loudly. They drop emotional breadcrumbs, subtle gestures of trust, respect, and vulnerability. It's on us to slow down, listen deeper, and show up not with noise, but with clarity. Because real intimacy, whether in love, family, or friendship, doesn't come from constant talking. It comes from recognition, seeing the quiet truths others are brave enough to share. The lesson is simple yet profound. Listen not just to respond, but to understand. And when someone opens up, even softly, meet them there with stillness, safety, and sincerity. That's how love, trust, and deep human connection truly take root.